What is going on, YouTube? It is Twig back again with another video. So I haven't uploaded in a bit. That's because I'm working on a couple projects. This is one of the ones that is going to take me a little less time to make. But in the meantime, if you guys could leave a like and subscribe, because I'm definitely planning some really cool stuff and you guys will not want to miss it. But I am your host today, and I will be showing you the OP teams that I made, but they were also some pretty balanced MCC teams as well. So, starting off with our first team, we have Red. So, this would be traditionally the Red Rabbits, with Sapnap, Bad Boy Halo, Kara Corvus, and CPK. So, here's how I thought this team would work. So I know we have like the polar opposites of like Sapnap and CPK, like both of them want being kind of not mixable in terms of like streams, but I think putting Bad Boy Halo on the team puts Sapnap in the right like mindset not to swear too much, and so that like all of the team can have a decent stream, but also CPK is a very good movement player, and Sapnap is a good PvP player. I put Bad in there because he's also pretty decent at movement and also just because of content. And Kara Corvus kind of makes up for the lack of team and building. She's what we would call support, but in a good way. Next we have Orange with the incredibly threatening duo of Technoblade and Tapo leading the team. The Skywars Gods, as someone would call them, with Captain Puffy and Carl Jacobs rounding them out. Captain Puffy I just put to help with movement a bit, and Carl to balance this team a little, because it was a bit OP before. Next we have Yellow, or the Yellow Yaks, where I put Dream, the Captain, George, and G Nelly on this one. So my thought process behind this team was that Dream and George can basically cover for PvP and movement, but then the second half of the team is going to have to overcome the deficit in build mart, so I put the Captain on there because he's like probably the build mart player with the highest average. And we have Gina Ellie as well, just sort of a bouncer, but also as like team support, because that's what this team is kind of lacking. The vibes are going to be insane on that team though. Next, we have the Purple Pandas with Kritzy, Dave, Mefs, Rambo, and Quackity. Okay, so what I did with this team was, we already know that Dave and Mefs are a very threatening duo, but they lack a little bit of movement, so I decided to include Rambo on this team because he's an A tier with pretty good movement. And Quackity needed to be added on the team because I needed a balancer, and Nikki wasn't going to work. Next we have Blue, or the Blue Bats, where I had the idea of putting an A tier PvPer with an S tier movement player. And both of them happen to be really good at battle blocks. We have the duo of Illumina and Anthros, Eric as an underrated movement player, and Sam for team support and game knowledge. For Aqua, I had a really interesting theory. So I was thinking of getting another PvP-centric S tier and pairing him with H-Bomb so that we could have a team with both PvP and movement and team game prowess. So basically, Puns and H-Bomb would be a terrifying duo, because not only would they be threatening in PvP and movement, but they would also be threatening in games like Build Mart and Grid Runners, where PvP-centric teams normally struggle. This team's insane at survival games, insane at battle box, insane at Sands of Time. This team really has it all. Not exactly the highest average, but we can still make it work. Oh no, what have I done with this? I wanted a team with Koig as well, leading it, so I decided he basically does everything well. So the best thing to do is keep the team pretty well rounded. So what I did was I put one PvP A tier in Krinios, and I bet that 2 people are gonna be like, no, it's Krinios. No, I will religiously pronounce it Krinios. And I added Pearlescent Moon for Build Mart and Wilbur Soot for team games in general. This team will work incredibly well together and also pop off in PvP, and frankly the average is just insanely high, and I doubt this will actually happen in real MCC. Alright, now Lime, we have a kind of stereotypical team. We have Pete and 3 Hermits. Pete, Grian, and the Littlewood and False. But in order to make this team not just like how it normally is, what I wanted to do was put some of the 3 best Hermits. Like, in the Littlewood isn't only good at building, he's also good at movement. Grian is just build Mart go, and False is sort of like, I would say in the Littlewood light, but that's kind of mean. Next, we have the famed duo of Tommy and Catherine. I really wanted to make this work, but I had trouble doing it with the people still in. So my thought process for this was I led with a decent duo of Bill and Tommy, and then I put in Catherine. But this was one of the teams that I built last, meaning that there were not many quote-unquote S tiers to choose from. And what I decided to do was put Vic with them. He was basically the best one left, and this team actually fits together really well. And it's very reminiscent of a team shown before with a Tommy and Vic duo, but as far as I know, there has never been Phil, Tommy, and Vic on the same team because they would be way too strong. You'd have to put like Nikki with them or something. And my last team, the last S tier that I wanted to lead a team was Fruit Berries. So I decided that Fruit Berries would want an S tier that kind of complements his skills and like sort of covers for his weaknesses, which I found to be team games and technical knowledge. So I brought Fundy in to help with that. Like, the duo of Fruit Berries and Fundy would be very intimidating to face off against, with Fruit's PvP and Fundy's movement and technical knowledge. Also, Fruit's insane speed bridging. Both of these guys are good at to get to the other side, by the way. And then I put Dan TDM in as team support, and he's surprisingly good at movement as well. And I had to balance the team, so I put Rendog in. But Rendog has a specific purpose of being the Build Mart bot. Sorry, Rendog. You are much more than that. But in all fairness, you kind of suck. Okay, that was also mean. And as for the statistics here, Yellow and Cyan are the strongest teams statistically. In part because Dream, George, and Captain all on one team is extremely good, and having a Quig Krinios duo is just broken. Quig is probably the most well-rounded S tier as well. Like, he doesn't really have any weak games. Because I would say like the second most rounded S tier is Pete or Technoblade, but I find that like Technoblade isn't as good at Build Mart, and Pete is not as good at PvP. So Quig is like the most well-rounded S tier. And that is the end of my video about creating OP but balanced MCC teams.